Ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, people? Back with a bang. This is the Money Management, here to bring you guys my weekly watch list. So the reason this is coming out on a Monday and not the weekend is because it is President's Day today, so the markets were closed. That means it's a 4-day trading week and we've got to deal with that. Now it's a huge week, a very big week in regards to earnings, and you guys know the reason for that. It's an EV week for earnings. That means Rivian, Nikola, the rest. No, I'm just joking. It is an EV week, but the most important thing is Nvidia are reporting earnings on Wednesday after market. So we're going to have a look at that. We're also going to have a look at the other few stocks reporting earnings, what could interest me, what could be of interest to you. We'll dive into that and then some charts, and based on technical analysis, fundamental analysis, we'll figure out what I'm watching for this week. So before we dive into that, I'm going to pull up the earnings for this week, and also make sure you drop the thumbs up on this video. So let's see what's going on here with earnings. Tomorrow before open, Walmart. I'm pretty much sure I'm going to be just trading the continuation of that, especially if it pushes to the upside. If it sells off, then I'll be looking to get shares. After at close, you've got Palo Alto. Now I traded Palo Alto back in December. I swing traded that one for about 4 or 5 days, came away with almost an 800% return on Palo Alto. You guys are in the Discord or follow me on Instagram would have seen that. I have my eyes on that tomorrow to see what happens, in the run up to earnings. So how it trades during the day, and then obviously after earnings what happens. But since I sold my calls, it has ran almost $75. So I'm going to definitely keep that on my radar. Then Wednesday, the big one, as I mentioned, Nvidia after close. We'll dive into that in a second. And then, as I also said, we've got a couple of Tesla's rivals, competitors, Rivian. And then Thursday we have Nikola, also Lucid Wednesday. So yeah, a couple of Tesla's competitors are reporting, the EVs. Then Thursday before open, we've also got Moderna. And to be honest, Square after hours. And apart from that, I'm not really interested in anything. Friday, Warner Brothers. I believe Michael Burry actually recently invested in Warner Brothers, but it's been doing pretty bad. So that might just be something to keep on your radar as well. Then let's jump into the news. So I know Wednesday we have FOMC minutes, so just keep your eyes out for that. And then what's going on here? Biden and Trump stuck in big tech drama. Dave Ramsey talking as always. Grant Cardone as well. Yeah, not much here that I'm interested in right now. Trending tickers, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Well, yeah, crypto is still live and active right now. It's been selling off today. But let's jump into the charts. So first up, what I want to look at, we've got to start with the one and only, haven't we? We've got to start with Nvidia. So a few different things in regards to Nvidia. I meant Nvidia, not Nikola. So Nvidia is now $726. It is way overvalued, way overpriced, but it doesn't mean it can't go higher. So there are 3 real scenarios that are playing out here for me. First of all, they report an amazing earnings, they smash it, it even beats expectations, and they wow us again, bring out new news or something like that. And it flies to almost to 900, I'd say. That's price target for this week. Second thing I'd say is they beat expectations, but because it's so overvalued right now, it's so overpriced, in my opinion, and it's ran up so far, that we don't see a lot of action with this stock. That's another scenario. They've done so much recently, they've kept announcing great news, you've seen this push up, but maybe there's been so much great news that, they can't really surprise us anymore. So if they beat expectations, it's just going to be like, wow, okay, we expected that. Then it just doesn't really do a lot of movement. That could be another scenario. And the third and final scenario is they're actually underwhelming, which I think is very unlikely, but it's an underwhelming earnings. And that's when we could see the stock finally sell off. But now, with the amount of AI they're incorporating, with the amount of great news they've had recently, I'd say the first 2 scenarios are more likely. Pushing up because of even more interesting news, or kind of just, hovering around where it is, maybe a $20 drop, $30 drop, nothing drastic. Just because, again, they've just done so much great recently that they can't do anything even better than that. So yeah, those are my kind of scenarios with Nvidia. How do I trade this now? Funny enough, how I trade this, there are a few different ways. But you've got to look at tickers like AMD, see what they're doing. You've got tickers like SOUN, which if you don't have enough money for Nvidia, you can trade SOUN calls. Now, SOUN actually also have earnings coming up, so next week. But before that, you'll see SOUN took off last week, and it's a cheap stock, but it has good potential. Now, SoundHound are also invested in by Nvidia, so Nvidia also holds SoundHound shares, so that's something you want to note. Like I said, if you have good feelings about Nvidia earnings or you read positive news, SOUN could be one you look at. Same with, as I said, AMD, INTC, Intel, and a couple of others as well. So let's go over to QQQ now, because we've been speaking about tech. We've been speaking about tech stocks. QQQ is high up. You can look at the daily chart. It's high up. It's overvalued. It's overextended. Clearly, weekly chart overextended. It doesn't mean it's going to pull on back. It doesn't mean it's going to sell off. It's extremely bullish right now. And it has a nice chart, to be honest. With AI hype pumping tech stocks, you can expect QQQ to go higher. And the good thing is, if Nvidia reports good earnings or we see positive news, you can expect QQQ to keep pushing on even higher past 440 and beyond. Now, I think, as I mentioned, if Nvidia managed to pull something out of the blue, we could see QQQ take off as it did just a few weeks ago, in the second week of the year. But we jumped all the way from 403 up to 420 in 1 week. Went real high very quickly. So we could see something like that if Nvidia do pull something out of the blue in a positive manner. I want to go over to some other nice charts now, since we've talked about tech, since we've talked about what's happening with those earnings. But like I just said, I just want to enforce, QQ is overbought in my opinion. RSI is high on the daily chart. But just because we're overbought, we're priced high, doesn't mean we can't continue pushing higher. Just keep that in your mind. Rivian have earnings. Solid level of support around $15. Starting to break above the moving averages. Keep this on your watch list. I might have to trade the continuation of earnings, but it does look like it's trying to break above the moving averages. The 9 and 21 are starting to cross the upside. RSI is looking good as well. Keep this on your earnings. This could be a cheeky runner. This could be one that pushes up. Last earnings sold off. Earnings before that sold off. So also just be aware that it could sell off during earnings. Like I said, I'd probably trade a continuation of this, not the earnings itself, but don't let this slip under your radar. If we're going to talk about nice charts, then we've got to pick up Visa as well. This is a great daily chart. Double bottom on the daily. Since October, it's just continued uptrending. Every time it pulls back, it pushes on higher. This is a great chart. For those of you who like long-term investing, this is a great chart. For those of you who don't know what Visa is, well, it's a commercial service. Every time you purchase something, you might see on your card either Visa, MasterCard, or credit card, Amex, something like that. Well, Visa is one of those choices, one of those payment options. So honestly, in terms of calls, I'm not completely sure what the option spread is like, what the option premiums are like on this. But I would say if you're looking for a long-term investment, this is not one you want to ignore for too long. Now, for those of you who are going to say, oh, this is the top though, not necessarily. If you look at the Visa chart from the last 10 and 15 years, you will see that Visa continuously uptrends. And it is, again, such a huge part of all of our lives. Companies all around the world are using Visa. It's around all the different continents. Visa is, one of those safe bets like an Apple or a Google at this point in time. So keep your eyes out on Visa if it does pull back. Look to get in shares, or if you can afford the calls, depending on how expensive they are, then look to get the calls. Moving on, I want to look at a few of the airlines. So we've got Boeing first up. Boeing sold off recently, had a few bits of bad news, which has forced it to sell off back to around $200. It seems that the line of support, level of support is around 200. So I'll look for puts if this does break below 200. If not, let's just see how it plays out. If you want to play puts down to 200, that's a risky play in my opinion, but you can look at that. You can look at doing that. Inverted hammer on the daily chart. So that's also something you want to take note of. And like I said, it looks pretty bearish right now, but I'd really try and trade this below 200 once it does break below. Until then, I'd say hold off on it. If you are looking to trade it, I'd say hold off for now. It's a bit unpredictable. But break below 200 could see us drop down all the way to 185 very quickly. Spirit Airlines had some bad news in regards to rumors and it forced it to sell off. Now it's starting to break back above the 9-day moving average. We'll see if it actually does break. But again, just what I want to put on your radar, the airlines. And lastly, for the airlines, American Airlines. American Airlines is steadily uptrending. My price target is 15. And what usually happens at 15 is we sell back off. So as you can see right here, 15 is that price point that it struggles to break above. Once we get to 15, it probably does sell off. So it's bouncing nicely, wicking off the 21-day moving average, continuously uptrending. Again, if we break 15, we could see a little bit of a push, a little bit of a nice run. And remember, this is a cheap stock. So even if it's just $1 gain or 64 cents gain, that's still a healthy 3-4% at this time. So yeah, just keep that on your radar. I'll definitely be looking at American Airlines this week. And for those of you who like long-term plays, well, if this does sell off again to $12, $13, might not be a bad idea to copy some shares. Let's move over to the cloud sector now. So looking at cloud software, let's look at Cloudflare first, NET. So this pumped up after earnings, not this past week, but the week before, Thursday to Friday, and since then has sold off. Now I'm going to see if it holds above this moving average on the daily chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, it is bearish. Moving average is crossing to the downside. As I mentioned, since the $115, $116 price point right after earnings, it's just continued selling off. So this could be put territory. Honestly, I do think it's put territory. Another $8, $9 drop is on the cards for Cloudflare. First, look to see if we hold or wick off the moving average at $97. And then we can see that $8 drop back to where we wicked up before the earnings and where the 21-day moving average is also hanging around $90. So a $9 drop is what I'm looking at for Cloudflare. Bring up CrowdStrike. Ticker symbol CRWD. This is a nice chart. Steadily uptrending. Again, one of those stocks which pushes up, pulls back to the moving average, pushes up again. Pretty simple for that one. Looking at calls once we pull back, looking at seeing this higher. Similar story with Snow, similar story with Palo Alto, which are reporting earnings tomorrow. I'll take Palo Alto. There you see I had my price target when I had the calls back in November, going into December. Now it's just doing the works. I will wait to see how it trades after earnings. I'll see what the price action is like during the day tomorrow, but then I'm not going to touch it until after earnings. Just wanted to put it on your radar, and I told you Snow as well. Ticker symbol SNOW, Snowflake. Same story. So all those cloud, software, technology companies, that's what they're doing right now. Oracle, another one of those kind of companies. Michael Berry actually bought shares of this a couple months ago, I guess Q4 last year. Very bearish. Oracle is the one which looks like it's going to be dropping most. If you look at the daily chart, you see the moving averages crossing to the downside. Back-to-back dojis. Strong red candles, strong red daily candles, strong red 4-hour candles. Oracle is definitely looking like puts. So we broke below the 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart. Inverted hammer as well on the 4-hour chart. And interestingly, Michael Berry missed a big short. Well, he's buying shares, and unfortunately, what he's buying shares in seems to be selling off. He also bought shares in MGM and CVS, I believe, and a couple others. I think Warner Brothers as well. So you can also have a look for yourself to see how those are doing. But it's not looking good for Oracle at this point. I'd definitely say this is clear put territory. If you check the daily chart as well, you'll see, this pattern here. It's like it's trading in this channel. It's like between here and here. So we could drop down all the way to here. And to be honest, I like my channel lines to be white.
What?
So I'm going to make those white. Yeah, we could be trading in this channel and pulling on all the way back to the 200-day moving average, or all the way down to the $99 price point, which is another $10, $11 drop from where we are right now. So that's it really. I mean, I know you guys are thinking about SMCI, Eli Lilly. We'll talk about those in the Discord. And that is a reminder though, if you're not in the Discord already, come and check out the Discord. That's the Royal Trading Academy. The first link in the description below. There we do the stock breakdowns. We live trade every day. We look at different stocks in and out the markets. We also analyze different things real time. And of course, we make sure that you guys eat. That's what we do in the Royal Trading Academy. Next up, the second link in the description, the stock option starter pack. Go check that one out. That's 10 videos for you guys. You'll have access to that one for life. $99 one-time payment. And again, you have access to that for life. You'll learn about the ins and outs on options, how I trade options, all the terminology, the Greeks, all the different things you need to consider when you trade options. So go check that one out as well. And then thirdly, follow me on social media at The Wealth Prince on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you for hitting 23K on Instagram as well. I do appreciate it. Seeing the growth recently. Gonna keep posting more and more, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. So that's it from me, guys. Make sure you check out last video if you're not seen it already, and make sure you're back for next video. I got money to making, you got money to making. See you guys next time for another video. Peace.